Well, everything in our world is energy, and all energy has frequency, and dowsing is a way to determine frequencies and then ask for them to be changed to a more beneficial state for us as humans or for whatever it is that we're dealing with. And it's really, I call it a universal energy management system. Uh, Well, I've really been a dowser almost my whole life. My father and my uncles were all water dowsers or water witchers, and for the longest time I thought that's all there was. That was dowsing, that was just the finding of water. But a number of years ago, when I began to do energy work, I had the opportunity to study with some really leading edge dowsers in North America, Raymond Grace and Joey Korn to name two. And so I found at that point the real expansiveness of what dowsing is and how we can use it to really affect everything in our world. Well, there are a couple of explanations or more, maybe multiple explanations about how dowsing works. This is mine. Everything in our world is energy, and energy is all about frequency. So when we learn how to dowse in a proper way, I'll call it, we first of all put a dowsing program into ourselves. And when we have the dowsing program, depending on what kind of dowsing tool we're working with, be it a pendulum or L rods or a bobber, when we ask a question in a particular way, that sends out a kind of a seeking frequency, and the answering frequency comes back to us and translates into a neuromuscular response, which moves the dowsing tool, the pendulum, the L rods, and that gives us an answer. So the tool is really just like an interface between our higher self and our body and our cognitive mind, and it shows us an answer in ways that we can understand it. So that's in a very short form how dowsing works. Well, dowsing can be used for just about anything. It can be used to affect changes that benefit us or benefit our world around us and change things from an undesirable frequency to a desirable frequency. So you can have an effect with dowsing on virtually anything, from weather systems to finding of lost objects to doing removals, clearings of houses or individuals or property of non-beneficial or negative entities or other forces that aren't desirable. So dowsing is really without limit. It can be used for everything, and I personally don't have a day go by where I don't use dowsing for one thing or another. A personal dowsing session is a protocol that's been developed to deal with specific things within an individual, and there are the form that I'm using is 65 questions, and we search for the answer, and then if it's not for the individual's highest or best good or for the most beneficial for them, we do an adjustment to bring it to the optimal level for them. And that's what I always do is bring it to the optimal level for the individual, because what is balance for one person is not balance for another. So having it brought to that absolute alignment for the person is the most beneficial thing. And it covers things, in 65 questions, it's a wide gamut of issues that are covered. And we deal with everything from health issues, from degree of being wanted at birth, desire for improvement and level of resistance to improvement, attachment of negative entities, all kinds of things like that. So it's very comprehensive, and things build one on the other through the 65 points. Well, there are many benefits of a personal dowsing session, and not the least of which is bringing a person to an optimal degree of balance over a wide variety of issues. I see amazing changes in people, and I'll just name 2 or 3 of the points that are on there that give a big change. One of them has to do with a soul retrieval, or bringing back parts of the person's soul that get fractured off during traumas during their lifetime. That's a huge effect on people. Another one that can be very powerful is the degree of being wanted at birth. In other words, the client's perception of how much they were wanted at the time of their birth. And you know, for some people, I've had people who were given up at birth for adoption whose feeling of being wanted at birth was 0. And when the adjustment was done, it balanced at 100%. And the change that comes over someone when they experience that is remarkable. And maybe for the first time in their life, they feel like they're loved, which is a powerful, powerful thing. Another one that's really a big one for a lot of people is the disconnection of lines of connection, or chakra cords, or psychic cords of connection from themselves to someone else, or from someone else to them, because they can run both ways. And we sever them and we scramble the frequency so they can't reconnect. And that's also a very powerful thing for a lot of people. No, you don't have to see me in person for a personal dowsing session. I have clients around the world, and I've dowsed very effectively for people all over North America and Europe, and the effects are profound, and we can do it at a distance at any time. Of course you can learn to dowse. Anyone can learn to dowse. And probably the best way is to take a workshop, either from myself or from another competent dowser who is utilizing it on a daily basis or an often basis, so that it's not just information they're passing on, but it's actually practical experience. So yes, you can learn to dowse, and I've taught many people over the past 10 years or so, and virtually all of them, without exception, can learn to dowse and use it effectively in their life. No, it's not difficult to learn. It's maybe difficult to move into acceptance that you're doing this, which is that's a difficult thing for some people, is to get out of their own way, to get out of their head and just allow it to happen and trust their results. Trusting in it is an important thing. And once you begin to do it and you keep checking your level of accuracy, in the beginning, it may not be very high as a percentage, but as you keep doing it and get out of your head about it, your degree of accuracy comes higher and higher and higher up the scale, until at last you're at a fairly high degree of a percentage in terms of accuracy, and that's when you can move into trusting it. And one of the things I've always sort of said is that when you're dowsing something for yourself, and you get an answer that you don't particularly want to know, that's the point where I know that I'm out of my own way and I'm not influencing the result with my mind.